Brad Tanini here for the Monday Morning Mojo. Good morning. I've been doing a lot of travel on business in recent times. 3 pretty hectic weeks. Last week was in Auckland. And I've got some travel stories. I guess as you travel, you find things that either impress you or annoy you. So here's my travel story for today. It's called Customer Service Gone Bad. I'm at a car rental agency in Auckland. It's 6 p.m. or thereabouts, 6:10 I think it might have been on a Monday night. I need a car for a couple of days. I go up to the counter of the agency, which will remain nameless, and I said to the young lady behind the counter, I said, I need a car for a couple of days. She said, so you'll be dropping it back at 6:10 p.m. on the Wednesday? And I said, well, I think so. She said, well, are you or aren't you? And I said, well, it may be 7. It may be just after 7. So she goes on the computer and does all the right things and pops in the details and all of a sudden says, well, that's our 3-day rate, and gives me a rate. Now, the 3-day rate wasn't expensive. That's not my pet peeve. The pet peeve is the lack of common sense. So she gives me the rate. I said, by the way, is that 3 days or 2 days? She said, well, that's our 3-day rate. I said, so what are we working that on? She said, well, 1 extra hour. I said, so I'm paying a full 24 hours rental on the basis of 1 hour. She said, yes. I said, that seems a bit silly to me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not having a go at you. It just seems a bit silly. So let me just ask you a question. If I sat down for the next 45 minutes and had a cup of coffee and then came back up to the counter right now at, say, 7 p.m. and said I want a car for 2 days, would you then look on the computer and say that's 7 p.m. Wednesday and that there was nothing you could do about that? It was a 2-day rental. If it was 7:30, it'd be a 3-day rental. She said, that's right. I said, this seems a bit silly. I said, well, I do need it for 2 days and there's every chance that I will be coming back after 6:10 p.m. I said, let me just think about that. So I took a moment to think about it, went next door to the next car rental agency. They didn't have a car left. And so I had my tail between my legs as I was walking back going, I need to get a car. To which she had a smirk on her face to say, well, told you so. So as I'm standing there, I said to the manager, I said, this is interesting, this policy, the fact that you're 1 hour behind schedule, but you still get an extra day of rental. He said, oh, didn't you get explained to you that we have a 1 hour grace period? You can start to see where I said this is going a little bit crazy. So now, if I bring the car back by 7:10 p.m. on the Wednesday night, I'm actually going to get a 2-day rental, but because she went on the computer and she saw that it was extra hour, the computer came with a 3-day rental. Go figure. So I bring the car back, and of course it's 7:35 p.m. You can imagine what's going to happen now. I say to her, how generous are you feeling today? Different lady. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm outside my grace period by 25 minutes. She said, oh, I'll have to ask the manager about that. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. Can't you make a decision? Not that the extra car day rental was a problem, but you're getting my drift. It's just the principle. So at this point, I said to her, I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave that with you. You've got my credit card. I'd be interested to know what you do. I'll leave it with you. You make a good, sound decision as to what you think you should do, and we'll call it quits. So off I go. Look at my rental statement. This is a long story this morning. Coming up on my Amex statement, of course, is the car rental, and there's the invoice attached to an email. When I check it back against the email, the gentleman, the manager, used a bit of common sense and charged me, I think it was $17 for the extra hour. Customer service gone crazy. If we'd had the cold conversation at the start that you get an extra hour rental grace, it wouldn't have been a problem. If the sales manager had been able to speak to the person on the floor, and if they were empowered to make the decision, surely they would have said, listen, I think we can work something out if you're an hour behind schedule. Anyway, there's plenty of other travel stories coming your way, but I found that extraordinary that we just can't be empowered to make those sorts of logical, common sense decisions. Perhaps it's customer service gone crazy. Have a great week.